Hi, I'm Pattu from FreeFinCal. So a lot of people have asked me over the past few days to make a video on the unified pension scheme versus the national pension scheme and how they should make a choice. I have written a ton of articles on this over the last few months, ever since the unified pension scheme was announced. Then there was a gazette notification in January, and now there is another notification. So I've made several articles on this. I have made calculators. I have two calculators. I have articles on my own as well as guest articles. I've explained what I'm going to do, etc. So I would suggest you go to FreeFinCal and check them out. But here's a quick way to choose between the unified pension scheme and the national pension scheme. So ask yourself, how dependent are you on the NPS for retirement? That is, let's say your NPS corpus goes to zero, just like that, and if it's just zero, can you still retire comfortably? Can you still be financially independent? So in my case, the NPS corpus is a very huge number, but I also have other investments elsewhere, and even if the NPS corpus goes to zero, I would still be financially independent today, and I'll be financially independent when at the time of retirement. So my dependence on NPS is quite minimal, and therefore I can afford to stay in the NPS. That sounds counterintuitive, but here's what I mean by that. So I don't depend too much on the NPS, and therefore I can afford to stay in the NPS. But for many people, especially for those whose salary is not very high in the government service, their primary investment for retirement would be the NPS contribution that they're currently making. And they would probably not have much of investments from elsewhere, mutual funds, stocks, etc. And therefore, they are highly dependent on the NPS for retirement. So for such people, I would think that switching from the NPS to the UPS, to the Unified Pension Scheme, is a better idea, because it would give them a nice stable pension. And of course, they should try to have other assets by trying to invest as much as possible in other investments. So that's the quick way to check. I have a calculator by which you can use your withdrawal rate, that is the annual expenses at the time of retirement divided by the total corpus expected, and so on. But I would suggest you choose to compare don't compare the products. Compare for your personal circumstances. For your personal circumstances, choose the better one, and that's what I've just explained. Don't compare products, then the unified pension scheme or the NPS will look one way or the other, better or better. Don't do that. Compare for your personal circumstances, like I just said, using how dependent you are on the UPS.